We had this guy come to the house like every 2 weeks on a Thursday. We called him the Eggman. He brought eggs, fruits and vegetables that was in season. And like, we loved dude. White dude, but we loved him. You know, he brought fresh food. And so now, like, I'm the Eggman. Pulling up at Black people houses, bringing food, bringing love, inviting to parties. Like we hang out. It's a family. That's what abundance is. It's a family. My name is Enno, and I'm a farmer. Well, we serve BIPOC free, and BIPOC is Black, Indigenous, or a person of color, because food apartheid is real. Food insecurities is real, and it's just a system built around us that's not really here to protect us, but targets us. So that's why we feed those folks free of charge. No questions asked. Just what do you like? So there's this thing called the Kingston Land Trust here. They have a land matching program. So people who have land, like, you know, backyards or like acreage, and like they're not doing anything with it, like majority of white America, they're like, hey, do you know any people who want to use this land? And it could be for whatever you got in mind, like farming or gardening. Say you want to do a yoga class or outside teachings of something, I don't know, but I got connected with them. I don't know, like we had to clear it before we could actually like plant anything. It was a pretty dope space. So the first season I was there, I went back to it again the second season of Abundance. But the second season, a racist neighbor moved in. So we'd be back there just farming, gardening. And like they had a lot to say about it. Like they were mad about it. And I mean, the second season we was growing out of like 7 spaces. But I don't know. It was just a backyard.
I bought my house in 2015, and when I was looking, it was never my intention to find a place with farmland, but it just so happened that this house that I fell in love with had this adjoining property with these 9 acres of commercially zoned farmland. My first thought was, you know, how can I find a farmer who can make use of this, you know, presumably fertile and good land. It felt like such a waste to have it just sit there vacant. It was my unbelievable fortune that my neighbor Andrew Shirley, who's known Innocence for a long time, mentioned to me one day that he knew this person who had started an organization in Kingston.
He's like, hey, let me show you something. And I'm like, all right. And we took a walk down the road. And he was like, what do you think about this? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, would you grow here? I was like, hell yeah. You know, I grow here. So he introduced me to Jeremy. And I mean, like immediately, like that day.
And she told me a little bit about her plans and what she had been doing and piecing together these smaller backyards and other properties in Kingston. And it was immediately a no-brainer for me that there could not possibly be a better use.
Jeremy was like, so yeah, let's talk about it. Like, not even let's talk about it. He's like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, what?
And it's clearly, you know, amazing stuff that they're producing. And such a wide variety too, which is really cool.
We grow produce. We did do some melons this year. But mostly like leafy greens, squash, tomatoes, peppers, hot and sweet with the cucumbers, root vegetables, produce. Last year, we grew out of like 3 backyards, a couple boxes in community gardens. And when I sat down at the end of that season, we reached over 80 families. So I can't imagine what we've done so far this year.
Food insecurity and not knowing where or how you will eat your next meal is a form of violence and oppression on all people. and it affects every community and every community member. My name is Chelsea Villalba, and I am a community and political social worker. It was projected that almost 22,000 people in Ulster County were experiencing food insecurity. 12% of adults in Ulster County and 17% of children.
Food should be classified as a human right because it is needed for survival, right? And it's part of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So Innu is doing something that's really important to the community because there are a lot of people, you know, one thing that stops people from going to farms is a class idea, right? Like they can't afford it. It's not for them. It's for people that can afford, you know, going to a farmer's market. So, you know, people don't feel like it's a space for them. And Innu is turning that on its head and bringing the farm to the community, which is really beautiful because it's giving people access to fresh vegetables, fresh food, and it's giving them an opportunity to ask questions.
I'm a farmer, I grow food, but it isn't just about growing food. It's about the community that we're building around it for people and by people who look like us, look like me.
You know, at a time where there's polarization and people don't want to talk and blah, 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 you know, what we found was that more than not, people do want to support their community and help each other.
Like most farms, you pay earlier in the season to get vegetables for the rest of the season. Whereas, one, we don't charge, and two, it's just a schedule. But like the CSA where we just serve like people in the community, we either set up at Greg's house, who does the Beyond the Four Walls outreach program, where everything at his house is free, and he has a free food fridge there.
And you know, I think we were at the same event, and she came to me and said, "Great work," and I'm a farmer, and I think I knew that from an event they had at a cookout, and so she asked me, can she come and distribute the produce and things a couple of Saturdays a month, and at this, absolutely. I'm for anything that people are for the people. If they're 100% for the people, I got you. I got you.
I remember Ella, my 21-year-old, saying to me a couple years ago, "Mom, you never told me we're poor." I said, "Oh, why? What makes you ask me that?" She said, "Well, we have everything." I'm like, "But there's a hustle that I got to do to make sure. I got to stand on the food stamp line. I got to do certain things. I got to, you know, for us to have what we need." Everybody said, "Where'd you get those?" I said, "Beyond the Four Wall Outreach Program. You have there's great outlet right there on 14 Van Buren." I be going like that to people because he's got 3 or 4 jackets. He's got everything he needs.
We need to stick together as people. Mutual aid. It's the only way we're going to survive is together. Plain and simple.
With everything in me, I am tired of like rallying because people are dying by the hands of police or by the hands of the white man, period. So I was locked up for a minute down in Texas, but like I maxed out. I did all my time, came home, and yeah, I mean, I've been here, I've been back home since 2016, and it was just a regular day coming from the farm, and actually for like a month last year, I didn't have no plates on my truck, so it was just parked in front of my house, and I guess like if you don't got no plates on your car, it just can't be on the road, and but I have been sitting there for like a month at that point, and you know, it always like a racist neighbor. So I just got home, me and Soul standing outside. He wanted to watch him cut the tree, and this cop pulled up, asked me about my truck. And, you know, I was just like, yeah, I'm working on it. And he was like, "All right, cool, but can I just get your ID?" And I'm like, "Cool, like, you know, I don't be doing nothing." So then he came back over and was like, "Yeah, so you got a warrant out of Texas, felony fugitive." And I'm like, "What?" I feel like back in the day I would have been like, "All right, whatever," but like I got a son. You feel me? You ripping us apart from each other. It's like anything could go it could go anyway, you know, like, yeah, they arrested me. It was ugly, honestly. I've only recently stopped having nightmares, bro. But like, it was a clerical error on their part. I was about to go and have to handle it from Texas, but community. After all the letters that was written, all the noise that was made, this man had the nerve to tell me that he was a bit skeptical. And I was like, what I said though? Like, that should be a life lesson for you, bro. Everybody not guilty. And but yeah, that was whack. It was whack as hell.
Innocence Powell is the founder of Abundance Farms. I met Inno at a Wednesday Walk for Black Lives.
I remember the first time we met, I was just so immediately taken by her presence.
She is an amazing parent, an amazing friend, just a generous person overall, and I really admire her.
So every time I drive by, it is such an amazing feeling to just see in every way what they've created over there and what they're doing.
It's a faith game. I just want to be able to keep going, keep reaching, bringing up awareness. That's the most important part too. Like, if you don't know, you don't know. A lot of people are ignorant to things that are not affecting them. So, faith.